Seventh place, Sanbei Protective Forest. On the vast land north of China, a long-lasting war is going on. A silent army. They don't have a knife or armor, but they stand silently in front of the sandstorm, guarding the last green barrier for millions of lives. They are trees, they are grasslands, they are hope in the yellow sand. This is Sanbei Protective Forest, an ecological miracle comparable to the Great Wall of China, a green Great Wall built with life. Back in the 1970s, the sandstorm in the north of China was like a large-scale ecological crisis. Every spring, the sky in Beijing would turn yellow in an instant. Passers-by on the street, wearing thick masks, couldn't avoid the cleanliness of natural sand. The nomads in Inner Mongolia watched the grassland degenerate, and the desert swallowed up a little bit of the original green state. Xinjiang, Gansu, and other places were also affected by the sandstorm. In one night, the village disappeared under the yellow sand. The land turned into a desert, and even the living creatures couldn't survive. Facing this natural invasion war, the Chinese government took decisive action in 1978 and launched the Sanbei Protective Forest Project. There is only one slogan of this war: building forests, preventing wind, and protecting land. Sanbei refers to the three major areas in the northwest, the north of China and the northeast. The project spans 13 provinces with a total area of 406.9 million square kilometers. It occupies 42.4% of the total land area of the country. In other words, almost half of China is involved in this green war. The goal is to build an artificial ecological pavilion to prevent the cleanliness of sandstorms, protect the farmland, and prevent urban and ecological systems from being swallowed by the desert. It is said that the Great Wall is long and long. However, the main protective forest belt of the Sanbei Protective Forest you see now is 4,480 kilometers long. It is almost equivalent to the Great Wall. If we list all the trees planted, I'm afraid we can go around the Earth several times. In 1978, the forest coverage rate in the Sanbei area was only 5%. However, after more than 40 years of struggle, this number has doubled. In 2016, the forest coverage rate directly increased to 12%, and it is still increasing. If you think this number is not shocking enough, then change the perspective. China's total area of artificial pavilions has already occupied nearly half of the global artificial pavilions. In other words, at least one of the two artificial pavilions in the United States is planted in China. It's just that this battle is far from as simple as you think. Planting trees is very easy. It is the biggest challenge to keep the trees alive on dry, windy, flat land. At first, a large number of fast-growing, tolerant, and adaptable trees were planted, but nature would not give in easily. At the end of the 1980s, a flash of starry sky disaster swept the north, and a large number of foreign tree forests were destroyed by pests. After this disaster, scientists decided not to plant foreign trees alone, but to introduce a variety of trees, such as cedars, jujubes, ferns, and other tolerant and adaptable trees, to create a self-regulating ecological barrier in the forest. In addition to planting trees, the Gusha technology of Shaofeng Pavilion has also been widely used. In the deserts of Tenggeri and Kabuki deserts, workers use rods to make square frames and fix the sand, just like the green chessboard in the desert. In order to ensure the survival rate, scientists also use drones to spray seeds, use artificial rain to increase water, and even develop biological cement glue to help the small trees in the desert to reduce water evaporation. It can be said that in order to keep every tree alive, humans have used all possible methods. Although this ecological battle faces countless challenges, it is still firmly recommended. According to the plan, by 2050, the Sanbei Protection Forest Project will be completed. At this moment, we can finally envision a future. Maybe one day the sky in Beijing will no longer turn yellow because of sandstorms, and the cemeteries in Inner Mongolia will no longer be engulfed by yellow sand, while the green porridge in Ningxia will be able to survive for a long time, and the Huyang Forest in Xinjiang will also be able to stand for thousands of years. Sixth, Xixi Dongshu. The Xixi Dongshu project is a super-energy big artery that costs 2.6 billion yuan and contains 36.2 billion US dollars. Imagine that you are leisurely drinking a cup of hot longjing, and at the same time, the natural gas used in this cup of tea may come from the Tarim Basin in Xinjiang, which is 4,000 kilometers away, through the Gobi, across the Yellow River, through the Gaoshan Canyon, and finally into the city's tube network to ignite your stove. All of this happens under the surface of tens of meters. Ordinary people can't notice it at all, but it maintains the normal life. The story of Xixi Dongshu began in 2002. At that time, China's energy structure was heavily dependent on coal, and the pollution problems in the eastern industrial city were getting worse and worse. The West contained rich natural gas resources, but they were thousands of kilometers away from each other. So the Shiqi project was born. On July 4, 2002, the first phase of the Shiqi project was officially launched. In just 2.5 years, a 4,000-kilometer tube runs through China, and its annual transport capacity is 12 billion cubic meters, equivalent to the natural gas supplied by more than 1,000 birds. But this is just the beginning. In 2008, the Shiqi tube was launched, with a total length of 9,102 kilometers and an investment of 14.2 billion yuan. Not only did it cover the mainland, but it also extended to Hong Kong, allowing the international city to build this energy expressway. In 2014, the Shiqi 3 was launched, with a total length of 7,378 kilometers and a capacity of 300 billion cubic meters. Fujian, Jiangxi, and other places also said goodbye to their excessive dependence on coal and welcomed the era of natural gas. Now, the launch of the Shiqi 4 in 2022 is the start of natural gas and extends to the border between China and Tajikistan. Today, the Shiqi 2 is not only a major energy artery, but also a global energy network. And don't think that the Shiqi is just a power expressway. The material of this pipe is X70 high-strength steel, which has a pressure resistance of more than 10 megapascals, equivalent to 100 tons of heavy pressure. Whether it's the wind of the Gobi Desert or the earthquake of the Qinghai Tibet Plateau, it can stand steadily. In addition, the natural gas that this pipe delivers every day is equivalent to the capacity of more than 20 million families. Once leaked, the consequences are unimaginable. Therefore, the Shiqi adopts a world-class automatic control system that can monitor thousands of data points per second. Once the risk of leakage is detected, the automatic door can be closed in 0.1 seconds to ensure safety. Although the Shiqi is the pinnacle of energy engineering, it also brings some interesting and even thought-provoking discussions. The natural gas comes from the underground, thousands of meters deep. Why does it keep coming out? Is it possible that one day the West gas deposits will suddenly be emptied and the ground will collapse? What is more worth thinking about is that the natural gas storage capacity of the newly built Tarim Basin is up to 1.35 trillion cubic meters, but there are still undiscovered storage areas. Are they the core of the future energy war? Will it affect the global energy pattern? No one can give a definite answer, but there is no doubt that the Shiqi has completely reformed China's energy map. Fifth, Three Gorges Dam. If the Great Wall is the symbol of ancient Chinese engineering wisdom, then the Three Gorges Dam, which cost 2,797 billion yuan, is undoubtedly the pinnacle of modern technology. Its total length is 2,335 meters, and its height is 185 meters, which is equivalent to the height of a 60-story building. The mass of mixed clay is up to 16.1 million cubic meters, which is the world's largest mass of mixed clay used. This vast fog hangs over the Yangtze River like a man-made antenna, which tightly locks the upstream river water to form a man-made lake with a total storage capacity of 39.3 billion cubic meters, which is equivalent to the water content of 4 Dongting lakes. But the real shock of the Three Gorges Dam is not only its size, but also the 3 missions behind it, such as flood prevention, power generation, and navigation. The Yangtze River, as China's longest river, has brought endless flood disasters. In 1998, the Yangtze River flood caused 4,000 people to be displaced and flooded 13 million acres of farmland, directly causing economic losses of more than 16.6 billion yuan. And after the Three Gorges Dam was built, everything has changed. The 21.5 billion cubic meters of flood-proof reservoir is like a giant reservoir insurance box. The flood that may have destroyed towns and villages in the past has now been easily resolved by the dam. The flood-proof standard of the Yangtze River has also increased from 10 years to 100 years. At the same time as the flood prevention, the Three Gorges Dam has also become one of the world's most powerful clean energy bases. Its capacity is up to 22.5 million kilowatts, and the annual power generation is more than 1,000 kilowatts, which is equivalent to a reduction of about 3.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions. This means that without the Three Gorges Dam, China needs to burn nearly 400 million tons of coal to produce the same electricity, and the impact on the environment will be unimaginable. In terms of navigation, the Three Gorges Dam has always been a dangerous civilization. Countless ships in history have been swallowed up by the current, but now the way ships cross the Three Gorges can be simply summarized as large ships climbing stairs. and small ships taking the elevator. As you can see, large ships can climb up and down through double-stage 5-stage ships. In this process, even the hard coins on the deck will not fall. For small ships, they can directly board the world's largest lifeboat. The whole process only takes 30 minutes and greatly improves navigation efficiency. These innovations have made Changjiang's annual unit navigation ability from 10 million tons to 50 million tons, and the cost of transportation has been reduced by 35% to 37%, making Changjiang Airlines a real accelerator for economic development. However, behind such a huge project, there is also a huge loss of cultural heritage. After the Three Gorges Dam was built, more than 800 ancient sites were submerged within, including national and provincial key cultural relics. Historical sites such as Yunyang Zhangfei Temple, Beatty City, and Fengji Ancient City had to be moved and protected, and the sites that could not be moved were submerged forever. Some people think that the construction of the Three Gorges Dam is the sacrifice of modern civilization to historical heritage. But some people also think that the economic development and ecological stability are far more important than the losses of these ancient sites. This debate about history and development has not yet stopped. Whether it is achievement or controversy, the Yangtze River is still flowing, and the Three Gorges Dam will also witness a new era. Fourth, Chuanzang Railway. If the Qinghai-Tibet Railway is the first challenge for humans to the plateau, then the Chuanzang Railway is the ultimate conquest of the Earth's near region. This railway crosses the steepest region in China's geography, from Chengdu to Lhasa. The Chuanzang Railway is 8.8 meters long and 838 kilometers long. Its total ascent height is up to 1.4 million meters, equivalent to crossing 16 Mount Everest. The Chuanzang Railway crosses more than 21 snowy mountains at an altitude of 4,000 meters. It crosses 14 rivers. Some people say that if the railway is replaced with a roller coaster, it will definitely be the most exciting extreme project in the world. The key point is that the geological environment of this railway is almost full of disasters. It has to cross the Ganzi earthquake belt, the Yalu Tibet-Bujang earthquake belt, and the 18 earthquake crack belt. There have been more than 8 7-level earthquakes in history, and every one of them is enough to destroy an ordinary railway. But it is such a road of life and death that the Chinese government decided to use 3,605 billion yuan to turn it into reality with an investment of about $50 billion. It is not only a miracle of engineering, but also a great flag of national strategy. Many people have questioned the cost of the Chuanzang Railway is as high as 3,605 billion yuan. This money can buy 120 strategy transport aircraft or 200 C-919 aircraft. The speed of the aircraft is fast, the capacity is strong, and the cost is lower. Why do you have to choose to repair the railway? But the fact is that the aircraft can never replace the railway, especially in Tibet. You see, a large passenger aircraft can accommodate up to 800 people, while a train can accommodate up to 3,000 people. The cargo capacity is even less than that of the air. Tibet needs to transport millions of tons of goods every year, and the aircraft can't meet the demand. In addition, the cost of aircraft transportation is thousands of yuan per ton, and the railway costs only hundreds of yuan. In the long run, the economic benefits of the railway are far higher than that of the air. At present, the transportation of Tibetan goods is heavily dependent on the highway, but the Chuanzang Highway is often affected by geological disasters. The wind is normal and the railway is not afraid of wind and snow and can maintain stable transportation. So the Chuanzang Railway is not a question of cost effectiveness at all, but a strategic necessity. In the face of such a limited construction environment, engineers have adopted a series of black technology. Due to the large height difference, the Chuanzang Railway uses a spiral ascent in a Z-shaped climb around the hill to lower the slope and improve the stability of the train. Tibet's frozen soil layer is not stable, and ordinary roads are easy to collapse. Engineers use hot stick technology to build special equipment on both sides of the railway. In winter, heat dissipation cools down, and in summer, the terrain deformation is reduced. Since its opening in 2014, the Chuanzang Railway has been partially operated and is expected to be fully operational by 2030. This railway is not only a miracle in the history of Chinese construction, but also the pinnacle in the world of engineering. As the long road progresses, this steel giant is still extending into the snowy plateau. Are you amazed by what China has built and turned into something colossal? Stay tuned for the final top 3. You'll truly understand how great China has become. Like and follow the channel to catch the next part. If you're curious about any topic related to China, leave a comment below. I'll research it and show you. Thank you.